Hello and welcome. If you're new here, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you enjoy this content. What I have for you today is a controller with a broken shoulder button. I picked this up locally before the human malware situation really picked up, and I filmed this a couple of months ago and just never got around to editing the video, but this trigger is really wobbly and I can see inside that there's a crack. I just didn't really know 100%, but I went ahead and updated the controller and tested out the buttons, and everything else checked out okay. I disassembled it and found that the controller was pretty disgusting, so that's going to need a good cleaning as well. So what you can see here, I tried to use Gorilla Glue that dries white, just so you could see where I worked, and the shoulder button that's attached to the rumble and connected there with the screw. I just used some Gorilla Glue, and it expands when it dries white, and as a temporary fix, just to see if that might work. And so if this is you and you're having a similar issue, you may want to try that first, just to see if you can get by, especially with the availability of parts becoming a little bit more difficult. So I went ahead and tried this solution out, and I think I gave it around a week or two before the actual parts came in. So it's definitely worth trying out. It held up pretty well. I did still feel like a slight wobble when I was playing games like Apex Legends, for example, or like a heavy FPS type game. But as you can see here, it was a clean break, and I had the glue across the whole thing. Next up, I gave the rest of the parts a good wash. Just used some Windex, used a toothbrush, and gave it a good scrubbing. After that, I just rinsed it all off and let it dry. And so you might be able to skip this step, but if your controller is pretty cruddy, you can give it a scrub while it's all taken apart, just as some maintenance here. And here's a quick look at how things were after I gave it a good cleaning. Alright, so I got the part in, or the parts rather. It was a kit that contained the two shoulder pieces that you could use to replace it completely. And so I believe I was using a Torx T9 screw bit. I couldn't find my screwdriver that actually fits, so I was just using the bit itself, and that seemed to be long enough for it to fit and get the screws out. There's 5 of them. There's 2 on the left and right side, and then there's one right here that's hidden in the battery compartment behind the sticker. So you're going to have to peel that off, and then you can take it out. After that, the back pops right off of the controller, and the front as well. Then there's this little lip right here that you can use to detach that piece, and the shoulder buttons, the front shoulder buttons pop right off like that. That gives you access to the shoulder. And here's unscrewing the actual cover for the shoulder button, or the trigger. And it has like a little clip on the sides, but it came off pretty easily. And there's a closer look. I kind of used, like as it was drying, I used like a little paper clip to help spread the glue and let it hold up a little bit longer. And so it was pretty good. I mean, it worked well, but if you focus closer here, this is what I did to get the shoulder button off. And so I used a pair of pliers. So you could try something else, but this worked for me, and it pushes that little bar out because it's in there pretty tight. I wasn't able to pop it open with my hand, and so it just got it out so that I was able to pull it then with this pair of tweezers and push it the rest of the way. And so you may have other tools that would work, but this is just what worked for me to actually remove the whole piece. And you see it just dropped out there. So now I'm just unpacking the part. I got mine from Amazon. I think you could also find it on eBay, and I'll make sure to put links in the description to cover everything in the video. So you can see there is clean break in that plastic. The replacement part didn't come with the magnet, but you're not going to need the original shoulder button anymore, so you could just remove the magnet from that one and place it in there. Just like that. It slides right into place. Yep, now you're all set. And it's ready to be installed again. Now this part coming up here is probably the trickiest, and that's getting it back in place because of this little spring mechanism. And so you're going to have to align everything with that bar that you popped out, or that I popped out previously. And so this may take several tries to get right, because it took me like 20 tries to finally get everything all lined up and the bar back into place. But especially with the next round of systems coming out, and Xbox did say these controllers will be compatible with the next gen systems, you may want to try to keep your controllers going as long as they can, and so it could save you some money. Instead of buying a brand new controller, try and refurbish the one you have. So after that bar is in place with the spring mechanism lined up, you're good to go. And for me, I thought this controller was just a little too grody, so I went ahead and found some replacement parts that I'll link below. And just to spice it up a little bit, got this clear shell, put some new life into this controller here. And there's a quick glimpse of how it looks, and so I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and have a great day.